Oh, hey you. It's Kat and Steve with the Positively Midwest podcast.
Well, hello there. Now, before this next episode, let's talk about sharing our mission.
To help, we have hooked up with Anchor.fm to help us keep launching Positively Midwest to as many ears as possible. The more we expand our reach, the more lives we can help inspire.
If you haven't heard of Anchor, it is the easiest way to make a podcast. Bonus, it's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer.
Well, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google, and many more.
You can make money with no minimum listenership, which helps our cause.
It's everything you need to make a podcast in just one place.
So go now, download free Anchor app or go to anchorapp.fm to get started.
Now, sit back and enjoy the next episode of the Positively Midwest podcast. Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Positively Midwest. My name is Steve Jurens, and across from me as always is my lovely wife, Catherine.
Well, hello, Mr. Jurens. It's always a pleasure to look at your face across this desk.
I bet, especially when I'm making all these goofy faces.
It's such a joy.
So, tonight's episode that we're recording is going to be episode 62.
62.
Yeah.
62. That was my echo sound.
Yeah. Already 62 episodes, which is cray-cray. I can't believe it.
It's been an amazing journey thus far.
Yeah. Oh, there's the music. Holy smokes.
Happiness.
I accidentally hit the mute button. Everybody, sorry. So, anyways, welcome to a neat little episode. Another one of Positively Midwest, episode 62. This evening, today, right now, at this moment, I'd like to talk about this article that I found. I think it's been relevant in plenty of times in our life. And it's something that we continuously need to work on. And people need to realize where they come from, and the more that you can learn about yourself and where these things come from, perhaps the psychology behind it or whatever. And especially since right now I'm kind of jamming through a course called The Science of Happiness by the Greater Good Science of Berkeley. And it's really engaged my thought process a lot. So this is from medium.com, which is a website I like to find a lot of articles from. We've read a lot of them over time. This one's from Dr. Christine Bradstreet. And after all this time, don't you deserve to feel happy?
Yes. Everyone does.
They sure do. So, I thought we could chirp through this, and then I've got a couple of real nice quotes that I'd like to read as well that I found. And I'd like to start off with one. And I want you to put this into your mind, into your brain, set up your mindset, if you will, prepare it for what we're about to talk about. But first order of business, the other night we had someone give us a shout out and say, hey, we just listened to your most recent episode, and it was Andy Shepard. And so thank you. That was totally cool. I don't know, we ran into somebody that had just listened to it, and it's just surreal. So thank you a whole bunch.
Yeah, that people actually do want to listen to us. It's kind of surreal.
Well, I know an average of 30 some people do. But no, it's cool. And then we're only going to grow and go from there. So appreciate you and just want you to know that. So this quote, from what I can see, it doesn't have a person on it, but the picture quote is from the Age of Enlightenment, themindjournal.com. So that's the only, what do they call it? A bibliography? A reference?
Yeah, you're wanting to do all the copyright. You're not wanting to copyright infringe here. You're just trying to make sure you're sourcing, citing your sources. There you go.
Yes, exactly.
God, it's like going back to high school English.
Yeah. So it goes like this. I hope you know that you deserve it all. The best, the most honest, the most beautiful, and purest love in the world. Not only to be loved by others, but to be loved by yourself. To look in the mirror and think, yes, I'm exactly who I want to be. To speak up and be proud of yourself. To be brave and open. You deserve the nicest and most caring people to walk into your life. You deserve it all. You know, the whole world. And you should never forget.
That's beautiful.
Oh, I know it. I really like that one. So, let's get into this bad boy here. After all this time, don't you deserve to feel happy? If your past is stopping you from being happy, it's time to change how you see it. Let me adapt a popular quote. I've been unhappy, and I've been happy. Happy is better. I was pretty unhappy for a good chunk of my life. I can't relive those years, but that was then and this is now. Now I can help you get to a happy life too. There's one major destroyer of happiness, and if you can get past it, you're well on your way to true and lasting happiness. Happiness relates to how you view the past. It doesn't relate to your past, it relates to how you view your past. If you believe you didn't have enough, weren't good enough, were treated unfairly, or didn't get what you deserved, you are denying yourself happiness today. Not enough love, not enough money, not enough attention, not enough security, not enough respect, not enough education. Whatever it may be, if you think your past was lacking, or if you think you deserved more, you're sabotaging your happiness today. What do you think of that?
That's deep. You know what? Oftentimes we look at our childhood and we're like, oh, man, I never got any of that nice stuff, or I didn't have cable, or I didn't have any of that. But it's like you do have to stop and you do have to look at the things that you did have. You know, I know some kids, sometimes when you have a big family, you know, we recently talked to somebody and they're the oldest of a lot of kids, right? And so they struggle with that concept a little bit because they feel like maybe they got the shaft. But it's like if you do stop and you look at how well you were loved and how much you were given during that time, or like I grew up without cable, I grew up without a lot of that kind of stuff, you know? It's like look at the joys and the blessings that I did have versus just maybe what we didn't. Right? Is that what you're saying here?
Yeah,
okay.
I think that's one of the perspectives, definitely. And, you know, I can say, I guess it probably doesn't matter so much what the reason is that you feel like you've been burnt in the past, or, you know, you didn't get enough of this or whatever, other than you should have good gratitude practices in the future. But, you know, if it's love, or if it's affection, or, you know, something as simple as getting, you know, hugs from your parents or whatever, you know, we all know that your childhood has a lot to do with how you are in adulthood. So if you feel that you didn't get enough of that, those things can be, you know, psychologically damaging, and it can be really imperative to how you are as an adult. So then you might lash out that way because you are trying to get any kind of attention you can, or, you know, in a sense, getting that negative attention then, but not realizing your full potential. If you were truly fulfilling yourself and being happy, that's what it has exuded out of you. Therefore, you're going to have just a much happier surrounding as well. So your ego's addicted to pulling you back down. You have to fight against that urge every day. Your ego took the stories of your past and turned them into your identity. It thinks you and the stories it created are the same thing. It loves the charge it gets from reliving those stories. It makes it feel alive. And tell me that you guys don't know what that's like. You know, no matter what trauma or whatever burned you in the past, you know, something can trigger that. It can be a song. It can be somebody walking into the same place that you're at, or, you know, whatever. And then you relive that entire moment in your head, and then you get the feelings of it. Your body reacts to it. You might sweat. You might get clammy, you know, whatever. And we all know how terrible of a feeling that is. But to change your stories or let them go sends your ego into defense mode. It has to fight for those stories because it's addicted to them. That's why we try to let go of the painful parts of the past, but they still seem to follow us. How? What?
I was just giggling at you flipping your page and how you did it so
I was
theatrically and.
I was trying not to make a lot of noise on the microphone.
Yeah, no, it was just very theatrical. I wish everyone could have seen it.
How do you let go of the past events that keep haunting you? It's easy for people to tell you, let the past go. Maybe you've tried to let it go over and over again just to have it chase you down each time. Here's how, quote, happy people do it. Happy people look to the past with a sense of fondness and nostalgia. They find a way to see beauty in their experiences, no matter how good or bad they were. Happy people pick out the pleasant memories and focus on them rather than the pain. Now, this is something I can tell you that I've got personal experience with. We've already talked about in previous episodes, neglect and verbal abuse and functioning alcoholism and things like that, or just straight up, what?
Neglect.
Yeah, I said that word, I think. But I talked to Catherine a lot lately because of probably some of the education that I've been looking into and different things like that. When we look at the past, we try to find just a good memory of something like that. And now I wish for the life of me I could remember the one that we just had the other day about, it was those these Gardendale crackers that I got. And I was like, oh man, I want to try these things. And I said, I remember that my mom used to make these all the time. And so it's like, well, you know what? Sometimes just thinking about her makes me feel bad or makes me feel a certain way. And I start to think of other things then, people just naturally spiral no matter what the context is. So, but I really focus hard now on harnessing my positive energy or positive mindset or whatever and go, oh, hey, there's a good memory, or something like that. So you really are starting to, rewrite that story on your own. Happy people have a sense of appreciation. They know those experiences built positive qualities of their character. Happy people look through life with a lens of satisfaction. Things were and are enough. Happy people transform their most powerful parts into their present-day strengths and gifts. And I'd like to say that perhaps that's something that we're trying to do here with Positively Midwest. Using any of our experiences with life or how we can relate to different articles we read, because I might be thinking of something or we're going through something or I am or whatever. And so I'll just Google that, honestly, and I'll find an article that's written by somebody that's got usually doctor in front of their name, which means they've got some legit PhD smarts. And then I will print it out and read it to you guys, which sounds kind of goofy sometimes, but then it allows me to spark and think of different things that, I may have gone through in my life and so on. So
it's sharing that insight and that knowledge that you just gained as well. So it might be something that they didn't think of or that they didn't find to maybe help bring them out of they're going through something similar or that it was relatable to them. That's all.
Yes, that is correct. So happy people don't compare their experiences with others. Happy people manage their expectations. Now, I think that's something that's very important too, and that's something that we've talked about in the past. In fact, I'll often quote, without expectations, there are no disappointments. But you can't necessarily live your life that way because I expect my children to be self-sufficient. I expect my children to get jobs. Things like that, be productive members of society. So I'll be damned if I'm going to be disappointed in that. And so far, they're doing a super good job. So, and I don't know. I think you get what I'm saying. It's just more, you have to be careful and manage your expectations, not think, I'm going to make $1 million this year. Well, can you really make $1 million this year? I mean, anything's possible, right? But what actions are you taking? What are you doing to try to put that in front of you? Are you breaking it down, that goal? Anything's possible, right? You got to manage and have the right expectations, right?
True that.
Word. So, starting right now, view your past with a lens of appreciation and fondness. The human brain is hardwired to remember the negative and forget the positive. Now, one thing I can tell you because of the science of happiness that I've been reading, a lot of times the reason that our brain is hardwired to remember the negative and forget the positive is because it's a predatory, psychological, it's imprinted in our brains, like if we were animals. So the reason that you get comfortable in your home and you don't necessarily notice if your home smells different and someone else comes over or you go to someone else's house, they always smell different and they might not always even notice that. And it's because you get comfortable with your surroundings. So your predatory skills pick up if something, you smell something burning. You're like, oh my gosh, something's burning. That smells bad. And, you go figure it out. And so the same with, hardwiring your brain to remember the negative, because your brain doesn't want you to feel that bad ever again. Your brain doesn't want you to have to even necessarily deal with it. So it's going to keep reminding you of it, so you hopefully never make that mistake again. Does that make sense?
That's a really interesting perspective on it. I like that.
All right. So remind yourself almost everything is going right. The few things that go wrong are given way more attention and worry than needed. The more you take an active role in turning your thoughts to the positive that's happened in your life, the easier it gets. Parts of it may have been unpleasant, and of course there's bad times, but end your story there. Anything else is a narrative of what you made that mean to you. It's time you see you had enough. You made it through your childhood, so you had enough. Appreciate that you had enough, and you still have enough right now. Be satisfied that whatever happened, it brought you to where you needed to be today. The fact is, the universe gave you enough of what you needed to survive. I had enough. I have enough. I am enough. If your past is a roadblock to feeling happy today, we have to resolve that right now. Your present day well-being is too valuable to let anything get in its way. After all this time, you deserve to feel happy. You deserve genuine and lifelong happiness, the type of happiness that can't be taken away from you, no matter what sort of craziness is happening in the world. And then read my book, Happy Ever After. We can all use that right now. Or visit this individual at christinebradstreet.com. So anyways, I think that's a super awesome article, and I really appreciate it, and that's something that I've struggled with, and I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, Catherine?
It's never too late, right?
I don't understand.
Like, your age doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how long you've been married. Doesn't matter how old you are. It's never too late to try to make that change to seek your happiness.
And who's really in charge of your happiness?
Yourself.
You mean like you're in charge of your own happiness?
Yes.
I'm in charge of my own happiness?
Yes. Happiness starts within, not others fulfilling our happiness for us.
What was that again?
Happiness starts within, not with others creating it for us.
Okay, so if we're in a situation where we're worrying about things that don't necessarily need to be worried about, what are good practices to turn that around?
Positive affirmations, thinking of what is going right. Write it down if you have to, instead of letting yourself just dwell on the worries. If you do have concerns, write them down, and then that way you can actually see, is this a valid concern, or is this something that my mind is wanting to make up?
So your sister gave me this little notebook that she found, and it says, think positive, be positive. And then it's just a blank notebook. And I think that would be a great little notebook to start doing gratitude moments. And things like that you can carry around with you. I mean, you can use your cell phone now. And most all the time, what I just do is just close my eyes. And I will just say things that I'm grateful for, and try to feel what you're grateful for, and try to, not just say, man, I'm grateful for my kids. And we talk about this quite often. Don't just say, hey, I'm grateful I have kids. Cool. I'm really grateful that after Gianna's parent-teacher conference, and we find out that she's doing fairly decent with her grades, ABs, and of course she needs to work on her math and whatever else. Her music teacher, which of course this makes me happy, says that she's literally a rock star, and she does real good with her notes, and she's in 5th grade. And of course there's I don't know what you call them, but these children that at 10, 11 years old can play ridiculous music, guitar, symphonies, whatever. But that's what and then there's people that don't know how to play anything whatsoever, right?
True that.
So how do we gauge her happiness? How does she gauge her happiness? Well, she was pretty darn excited, about that. And I don't know. I think that speaks volumes, because we can always look to somebody else. Oh, there's always going to be a better salesman. Oh, there's always going to be that person who's got a better job. Or this person's going to have a nicer vehicle than we do. Or this person's has a nicer house than we do. And that's just all a bunch of bullshit. Honestly, what you need to do is go, hell yeah, I'm so warm right now because I have heat in my house. Maybe it doesn't work quite as good as some, but there's people that live in shanties. Mm-hmm. There's people in our area in the Midwest, as positive as we're trying to make it, that their pipes froze. And, mobile homes and stuff were hit the worst. Some people that come around here to do construction are staying in campers and whatnot. And they were like having to fill those tanks every few days. Just, be grateful for what you have. And it's not like you're not judging other people by saying, well, I'm grateful for this, I don't need a Lamborghini. I mean, if for some reason I was a multi-bajillionaire, I probably wouldn't buy a Lamborghini.
That's on Gianna's vision board.
Yeah. But if she wanted one, I guess whatever. But, I hope that we're such big philanthropists that we're giving a lot of our money back to the people, which, by the way, we've got like $250 some. So we're ready to rock and roll to help somebody get them to therapy or addiction or whatever that means for them. I think we talked about that too in the last few episodes. But anyways, my point is that you got to give yourself some flipping gratitude, and you've got to, like Michael Jackson says, if you want to make a difference, start with the man in the mirror. I think that's how the lyrics go. But if you want to see a change, start with the man in the mirror, something like that. But I mean, these concepts have been around for over 100 some years now, so it's not like I'm breaking the mold. I'm just hoping you like to listen to our voice and our music and you tell other people too, and it just keeps growing. And we're part of the movement that helps make people think a little bit more positively. And you know what? You're going to cry. You know what? You're going to get pissed off. And you know what? Something bad's going to happen to you, or maybe we lose absolutely everything and something, catastrophic happens. I mean, anything can happen. You can lose, get paralyzed, or you could die. I mean, any of that shit can happen, and we all realize it. But what matters is what you do in the moment. Don't make a temporary decision or mistake because don't make a permanent mistake because you're temporarily upset. Mm-hmm. There's so many quotes that we could read through, but what really matters is it's okay to feel the feels, but what do you do consistently? What do you do frequently? Do you lay in bed every single night and worry about what's going to happen the next day and how much stuff you have to get done and how stressed out you are and you don't have enough time in the day? Or do you lay down in bed and go, you know what? Every single day I've been going to work and I've been getting it done and I've been doing my best. I can tell you that right now. I'm so grateful that I have a job. I'm so grateful that I have a decent working environment. And if you don't, get the hell out of it, because you have that option too. If you're not happy doing what you're doing, if you went to college and spent $100 million to go to college and you don't like your job, who cares? Go find something else to do. Make yourself happy, because happiness isn't necessarily money. What happiness is what you probably do with the money you do have. So if you want to go out and get a $1,500 canoe or a $3,000 canoe or kayak, go ahead and do it, because people do that stuff and they're out racing these things. We got like $180 ones. Guess what? It's floats and it's fun. So that's what we do. Well, you can buy like $100 and some $1,000 pontoon. Well, they also make some that are like $18,000. Which one are you going to buy? I mean, they're both going to float. They're both going to get you going. What's best for you and your family? Motorcycle? Vacation? I mean, what?
What brings you happiness?
Yeah.
Is that what you're getting to here?
Yeah, I'm getting...
Which is bringing you happiness in life? No
matter what it is, do what makes you happy and is what's right for your life. And don't let everybody else tell you that, you're doing it the wrong way, or that you shouldn't have made that decision. And maybe you shouldn't have made that decision, and maybe you learn from it then and have a growth moment.
Teachable moment.
Yeah. Go. It's all, you can't control what happens to you in life, but you can control how you react to it. And that's something my counselor and I talk about all the time.
That's the conversation I had with the girls this week, is just because somebody did something or said something you don't like, you can't control them. You can't change them. You can change how you reacted in public to that person at that moment.
Yeah. And all too often too, confrontation's always difficult, but I don't know if I can coin this term or not. But if I could write a journal, but I'm not a doctor, so I don't know how that works.
Not a doctor.
So it's like the spider effect, right? Now, people say that spiders are more scared of us than we are of them. But I will tell you right now, one of our friends for sure, a couple of them we know, me myself, if I see a big-ass spider, I am freaking the fudge out. Like, oh my God.
What do you do, Steven, if you see a spider?
I would tell you to do it, or I'll go get a shoe. I mean, it's not like I haven't done it, but son of a biscuit, I am freaked out. If I ever saw one of those big, huge bird eaters or whatever they are, or something in Australia, I don't know what it is, I will literally cry, and I will shotgun, and I will run away. But you know what? That spider don't give a crap who we are. Or the little ones, whatever else. Look they crawl all over other people and stuff. I mean, there's people that love spiders and have them for pets, and snakes and all that stuff. That stuff freaks me out.
I think you've spiraled.
But if that makes you happy, then that's what matters. And the spider effect, what I'm talking about, is that they're generally more afraid of you than you are of them. So relate that into your typical life. What do you have to be afraid of? Just ask the question, or take the leap, or buy the thing, or take the trip. What's it matter? Tell me, Catherine, what's it matter?
If you are going to find that moment of joy, that's all that matters. Is those moments of joy that you can cherish and hold on to create your memories, your happy memories. That's what matters.
And you never know, this might be extremely cliche, but you never know when it's going to be our time. And do you want to, all too often, I think, and I dabbled with this a little bit ago in another episode when I was going through some of those courses, and they were talking about how millennials want to have more experiences, and it's almost like we live our life backwards. We go through school and we bust our ass in school. After you get a certain age, you have to do all this math, you have to know all this science and all these things. And the generalization of it, sure, it's not like I'm disagreeing with that. It's more like, why don't they focus as hard on music? Why don't they focus as hard on art? Because there's a demographic of children that will exceed in that area, not just the academic side of it, or if that's the right term. Then we go to college, and you get to pick what you want to go to college for, right? So you get to college, and you pick what you want to do, and you go through 4 years, 2 years, 6, 7 years. Then you get out of college, and then you've got thousands of dollars of debt, and then you get the job of your dreams. Oh man, this is what I've been working for, the job of my dreams. Well, then you have to move away to do it. You're not by your family, or you find a place that is hiring for someone like you. And now remember, hopefully it's not saturated, because hundreds of thousands of people went to school to do the same thing you're doing. And now you have to fight for that job, or be the best you can be to get it. But then you work for a company, you don't like the company. Or maybe you find out you don't even like what you went to school for. Like, oh no, I don't actually really like doing this. Well, don't freak out. But I'm going to tell you something. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want to do. So we know people that have gone to school for whatever, and now they're doing something completely different. I never went to school, and I've been in sales for 19 years, but it's been a lot of different sales. So I'm doing sales, but it's been all different. And I'm pretty darn happy where I'm at right now. And I think that can just continue to evolve. Our lives just continue to evolve. But you have to be open to it. You have to be positive to it. And you do still have to take actions for yourself. You can't just say, I'm going to do this job every single day because I have to have this. I have to pay for this or that. Trust me, there's ways out. There's things you can do. Don't feel like you have to be unhappy. So maybe I get up on a soapbox every once in a while, but I have my own podcast, so I can do whatever the hell I want. Catherine's just over there with her arms crossed, laughing at me, and then she says I spiral sometimes and things like that, and I sure do, but they don't have to listen if they don't want to, but people do. And it's real. This stuff is real.
It is. And you just put sometimes, the realistic, humorous spin on it, because this is reality and you're just being honest with everybody. So it makes me giggle sometimes.
Well, and I might spiral if that's what you want to label it as, but it's important that, I get all my stuff out there too, because I've gone through a lot of shit, and that's why I can tell people, when I talk about think positive, be positive, stay positive, again, and we'll say this every episode, I don't care. That doesn't mean that you don't feel the feels and you don't cry and you don't get mad, but you just maybe consistently, most frequently in your life, be positive, be happy. Everybody sees that individual get out of their vehicle with that look on their face, and you're like, oh, jeez, I don't want to talk to them. Or they come into your store, or they come into the store you're at, and you're like, oh, man. I mean, now everybody throws around the Karen terminology thing,
I know, I feel so bad.
For anyone whose name is Karen?
Yeah.
Yeah. But, that's a term now, and it's a thing. So it's like being Munson, like the pinball, or, oh my gosh. Kingpin, yep. You've been Munson. So yeah, I feel bad about the Karens, but anyways, it's that perception though, or the RBF, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And and like we were talking about with your feeling your feels, and then you're on your search to happiness, is that the only way you are going to find that happiness is to allow yourself to feel those feels. Allow yourself to work through those emotions to find that happiness. Because if you just keep holding on to the feelings, or you keep pushing down the feelings, or you keep blocking those things that you've gone through, you will never find your happiness because you haven't worked through it first.
And most importantly of all, what do you have to do?
You have to love yourself.
And?
Make yourself happy.
And?
Forgive yourself.
And?
I feel like there's a lot of hands.
Take
a breath.
And take
a moment.
Take action. You can read all the self-help books. You can read the Bible 1,000 times. You can go to church. You can do all the stuff, guys. All of the stuff. But if you don't actually do anything with the knowledge that you've provided yourself, you're not going to change a damn thing.
Now, for those of you that have just finished listening to this episode, I want you to go in to our Facebook group where Steven just dropped this link to this episode. I want you to type the word "and" in the comments so we know you heard us.
Oh my,
all the things of "and" to do.
Why don't you give me a #happy? What I'd like to see on there. So, anything else?
No, I think you got it all covered. Oh, you were going to tell us one more quote before we closed out.
Well, I have it pulled up.
Oh, perfect.
I was just trying to be a gentleman and ask if you had anything else to say.
Such a gentleman and a scholar.
I don't know about a scholar, but soon. I won't be a doctor, though.
Not a doctor. Sorry, I can't help it. Every time I do that, I think of
What's it from?
It's from the kids' cartoons.
Oh, I thought it was from the end of that Disney show?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
It always just pulls up.
We're not sponsored by Disney.
Not a doctor. I don't know. Just
I don't think.
Every freaking time. It's all I think of.
Not March 2021. We're not anyways.
No, just happy thoughts, happy moments.
Yeah. Okay. You deserve a day where worries don't get in the way of anything. A day where, even if some people are insensitive or unkind, you're not going to mind, because the blessings you received are far greater than the burdens you experience. Remember, stay positive. So that brings us to the end of episode 62 of Positively Midwest. And I'm stalling a little so I can pull up the end. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We appreciate you. Right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you all very much from the bottom of my hearts. Please check us out on the Facebooks and the Instagrammies and share. If you would share our podcast since you listen to it anyway, or send me a message and I will show you screenshot by screenshot how to go to our Positively Midwest podcast page on Facebook. Like it if you don't already. You might be in the group, but if you'd go like our regular page, we could grow that a little, and that's where we can have some of our merch on there. We have 2 different tumblers now. We got the water bottles, stainless steel, and then we got a few hats left yet too. Flex Fitty, large, extra large. See them on the website. But if you wouldn't mind, you can leave us reviews on the page. That's why I was going with the page. So Positively Midwest Podcast, there's the group, there's the page. If you're already in the group, you can click right to the page or just search us. You'll find it. Like the page, leave us a review. Or if you use Apple Podcast, give us a review. When you give reviews through Apple Podcast, they're actually our most influential podcast or source or whatever.
Listening provider.
Yeah. Most people that listen to us use Apple Podcasts or something. So we don't have apples up in her, but I know what you're talking about. So leave us a review. That'd be super cool. So thank you all for listening. We appreciate you. Thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for listening to the Positively Midwest podcast. Our hope is to inspire, engage each other's thoughts, and leave you with some great advice. Be sure to join our Facebook group and follow us on Instagram at Positively Midwest Podcast. Make sure you like, comment, share, and screenshot our podcast with all of your cool friends. Every little bit helps. We are on most all major platforms, and you can stream it on our website at positivelymidwest.com. Thank you, and as always, please always stay positive.